Hi guys, I'm Mike and this is F1 Fanatics. So guys, today we have a bonus video for you because I was having a discussion over the weekend and I thought it was kind of thought that Christian Horner was a good team principal, but apparently there are people out there who don't. So I thought I would make a video looking back at Christian Horner, look into this a little bit more deeply and ask that question to you guys. Do you think Christian Horner is a good team principal? So obviously we will go through the main kind of events of his life. I will start off with his successes and then we will also talk about the downsides to Christian Horner, and then I will give my final verdict on things. Guys, don't forget, if you want all your kind of F1 related content, we cover race weekends, we do videos like this. Obviously we've been doing our predicted lineups and we'll have our ratings videos coming out, starting off with part 1 coming out on Thursday. Subscribe to the channel guys, click that bell notification and you know everything that's going to come out from us. Okay guys, so let's get into it. So Christian Horner's first introduction in motorsport actually started off as a driver, and you know, with relative success at the early stages. He did well in Formula Renault championships. He progressed on to Formula 3000 and actually which is obviously the equivalent of F2 nowadays for you guys. He started off driving and owning the team himself, founding the Arden team. Moving on with the Arden team, in the first 2 years, 97-98, he was competing, but he then realised that he wasn't at that level. So at the age of 25, he decided that he would retire from professional driving and focus on being a team principal. Funny story of when he was starting up the team is, I mean, if you watch any interviews of Christian Horner talking about himself, he always brings up this story of he kind of scrapped the kind of loan money together and he bought this trailer from Helmut Marko. And yeah, he paid all the money up front. He went over there and he got back and his dad asked him, where's the trailer? And he's like, oh, it's coming in a week's time. He's like, did you pay him? Yeah, paid him all up front. And he was like, oh god, he spent the next week sweating rather than do it. But then he moved on to being successful. He was fairly successful in Formula 3000, obviously building that team up. And his last 3 years, he won 3 constructors titles with the Arden team and 2 drivers championships. And then we get to kind of modern Christian Horner and his relationship now at 15 years with his partnership with Red Bull. So at 31 years of age, he acquired the team principal role at Red Bull. And I mean, that is a bold call considering all the experienced team principals that were on the grid at that stage. And yeah, giving the kind of Red Bull team to this young aspiring team principal, big risk, but he took those chances. In part of his early stages, he convinced Adrian Newey to join the team, which is obviously a massive recruitment. Obviously having David Coulthard as part of the team early doors, and he then started to build this team together that when in 2009 with the new rule changes came on top, caught Ferrari and McLaren slacking, because McLaren, those were the top 2 teams at the time, and they managed to build a car that was there. Obviously 2009 saw Brawn win their championship, but Red Bull came a strong second, and then that would be the start of their dominance. And this is where I kind of start looking real positives for Christian Horner. He's hired Adrian Newey. They believe in youth policy. In 2010, 11, 12 and 13 they won 4 constructors titles and they won 4 drivers titles from a team that had only really come into the sport 5 years earlier. That is a massive improvement and a really big step up from there. Obviously there wasn't without controversy, which is what we'll talk about with the down points of Christian Horner, but him and Sebastian Vettel managed to reign supreme with those 4 world titles, driver titles for Sebastian Vettel, and those 4 constructors titles for Red Bull and their team. Obviously, since the then engine changes to the V6, Red Bull have struggled going there, but they've always been competitive, and again, getting ahead. They've managed to win races pretty much every season in that gap, and now look like they're a team building again to the top of the pile, with the young driver in Max Verstappen looking to kind of bring success back to the team. So those are obviously the positives. He's brought success, 4 championships to Red Bull. Now let's kind of look at the negatives and why people might say that Christian Horner isn't a good team principal. So obviously the 2010 to 2013 success didn't come without its controversy, and that was obviously reached its pinnacle and tension of the relationships of the Vettel versus Mark Webber partnership. And obviously in Turkey, when those two collided on track, their relationship when they were in the team was never the same again. And you could say maybe he should have got rid of sooner. Obviously, famously with Mark Webber coming out and going, not bad for a number 2 driver when he won at Silverstone, when he was kind of, Sebastian was given the front wing because he was leading in the championship at the time, and that Webber dug deep and kind of channeled that inner grit to kind of win at Silverstone, to go almost like a screw you guys. And obviously there were clashes as well. There was clashes in Malaysia 2013, there was clashes in Brazil at the season finale. Vettel did go on to win the championship, but Webber made it very difficult for his teammate and forced him to kind of back off at the start. So it wasn't a friendly relationship. You could say, people argue Horner could have handled that situation better. I'll go and say what I think on it. But yeah, that's a criticism of Horner. Another criticism is probably the situation with Daniel Ricciardo. Obviously had a very good driver that everything was kind of looking towards Max Verstappen, a kind of, funnily enough, it was a young driver and then a more experienced Australian driver in the team, where it kind of mixed up and it didn't necessarily end too well. Obviously Ricciardo is now at Renault. You can maybe look at it as if the way that they treated overall, they were equal status, but you could maybe say there were certain situations that favoured Max Verstappen, and so that kind of alienated Ricciardo to feel like his chance of winning a championship, if he's going to get one, won't be at Red Bull, and then obviously going for pastures new at Renault. So maybe you could see that situation they've then lost, which has then led on to this driver situation that we've got at the moment with the Gasly Albon switch, because they haven't replaced Ricciardo, and that second seat in the Red Bull car is really still up for grabs. Not really sure where it's going at the moment. Obviously Albon's got it to the end of 2019, but after that it's anyone's guess. And then you can obviously bring in the driver swap. So obviously Kvyat being axed through not doing too bad, being in his partnership with Ricciardo and having Max Verstappen promoted. And then obviously the Pierre Gasly axed halfway through the season. Think what you may of it. Is kind of, yeah, halfway through the season, and then promoting another young driver into it in Alexander Albon. So those are the kind of positives and those are the negatives of Christian Horner, and so I'm now going to give you guys my kind of take on him. I think Christian Horner is a very good team principal. I don't think you can be around in motorsport and Formula One for as long as he has without being very good at his job. Looking at his criticisms, I don't think you can have too much of a go at him for the Vettel and Webber situation. You just had two incredibly competitive drivers, and Vettel, looking back now, just was naturally the better and quicker driver. Yeah, obviously there were some incidents they maybe could have handled better from there, with kind of supporting Webber a little bit more, but I think overall Vettel would have always ended up on top in those situations, and Mark was coming to the end of his career and just desperate for getting a win. And you've seen it through kind of rivalries throughout the history of F1, even seen it at Mercedes in more recent times with Rosberg and Hamilton. When you got two competitive guys in the kind of best car in the championship going hell for leather, there's going to be clashes and it's incredibly hard to manage. But at the end of the day, they won 4 constructors titles and 4 drivers titles. They maximised their time at the top of the game. look at Ricciardo, I think Ricciardo had just wanted a fresh start. There was, like he says, there's lots of different reasons to why he Red Bull. Max Verstappen's one of them in terms of an emerging driver. Probably that inner, am I going to get the same opportunities? Because Red Bull are always a team that promote youth from within. And that's not just Christian Horner, that's just their philosophy. Giving Christian Horner the job in 2005 when he's 31 shows that it's youth at any level of the company and team rather than just the drivers as well. So I think Ricciardo, you can't really necessarily blame him. I think Ricciardo, it just, for whatever reason, didn't work out at Red Bull, and he's now gambling on Renault being his Lewis Hamilton move at kind of the same age, that Renault get it right in 2021 and are challenging at the top and giving him a chance at a title winning car. In terms of the axing of the drivers, obviously Daniel Kvyat I didn't think was doing bad in the drive when he lost his seat back in 2016, but you have the talent of Max Verstappen. You cannot turn around right now and go, dropping Daniel Kvyat and bringing Max Verstappen into the Red Bull team is a bad decision, because he is one of the most exciting talents in Formula 1, and it's harsh on Kvyat and probably harsh losing it halfway through a season. Probably could have waited a bit longer for Max, but Max Verstappen is such a good driver, I can't blame him for that one. And then the Pierre Gasly situation, obviously Helmut Marko has a big say, being the head of the junior development team at Red Bull. He has a massive say in these proceedings as well, but Gasly wasn't performing, that's the harsh reality. Red Bull have had a car, he crashed early on in the season which hindered their development there. He's never really recovered since. His performances on track aren't good enough to be lapped in a car that then went on to win races in Austria, and well, he obviously got lapped again where he came second place in Hungary. That's not good enough. I mean, obviously the driving style's different and there's a lot of reasons why Pierre Gasly hasn't thing, but you have to say Pierre Gasly deserved to get dropped, and you can't look at that and being a harsh decision. It was a decision that was deserved. Promoting Alexander Albon, it's a decision that's yet to see, because we got the second half of the season to come, whether that's a good decision or not. But I think you have to look at it. They've looked at Kvyat, they've looked at Gasly. Albon, it's a free trial. It doesn't really hurt them to give him this kind of trial at the end of the season with these 9 races. It won't necessarily affect Albon too much. He's just got an amazing opportunity that he's got a chance to grasp. I don't think Red Bull have done anything wrong there. So guys, I think obviously over the years Horner has been absolutely fantastic in building this Red Bull team. He has been massive in that. He's got huge amounts of talent as a team principal in this role, and yeah, I respect him for all he's done in the sport, and I think he's a great team principal. So guys, if you liked the video today, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Let us know in the comments, what do you think? Do you agree with me that Christian Horner is a great team principal in Formula 1? If you disagree, comment down below. This is how this video idea started, was with someone disagreeing me on this, and I want to have a chat. I want to find out why you maybe think Christian Horner isn't a good team principal. Guys, like always, F1 fans, keep racing. Hi guys, thanks for watching today's video. Hope you enjoyed. If you want to kind of watch more videos from us, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Click down here. Also click that bell notification so you can know when all our latest videos go live. This is your place for all the F1 content you could possibly want. Remember, we follow every race weekend over the course of the season. How about you check out one of our videos from part 1 of our driver predictions mini series. Guys, thanks for watching as always. See ya.